Okay, so thanks for attending. My speech is going to be on a brief history of human language. And it's basically shrouded in mystery. There's a lot of theories and scientific explanations that counter each other. But together, I'm going to give you guys a bunch of the different theories, and you can make up your own mind because there's so many different, like I said, there's so many different theories that it's vague. It's very vague. Topic that big. So a lot of scientists differ on how exactly language was formed in the human mind. Some say that we picked up on animals, we mimicked animals, like cats meow, cows moo, and then we decided, hey, we're going to do that too. That's a scientific theory. The other scientific theory is that it was pleasure, pain, emotion, things like fire. You burn your hand on fire, you shout ow. You would attribute that ow to the fire. And then as language progressed down the lane, it would evolve to what it is today, way more complex and deep languages. So that's how most scientists believe how it was formed. But how it was formed in the brain was a slow process of evolution. At least that's the most popular held theory, is that it was a slow process. As our bodies evolved, as humans evolved, the language evolved too. So it started very primitive, maybe with just gestures, pointing, grunts, things like that. And then it grew into what it is today, very complex languages. Others say that it was just a sudden gene that popped in their head. And it was just for our ancestors, earlier humans, just wouldn't even be able to use language, even if they could. And it just popped up in our head. So those are the two different theories, and we're going to go a little bit deeper into that, but not too deep because we're kind of pressed for time. But so, like I said, much of what I discuss is theories. I'm going to give you basically two sides of everything, and then you can make up your own mind. So Quentin D. Atkinson in Science Magazine in 2011, he used a unit of sound basically called phonemes. Sorry, and phonemes are basically, it's hard to explain, especially in such a short speech like this. But I'll give you a short example. A phoneme in English is kill and kiss. They both have the same sound. To start with, the K-I sound, and then there's the double L's on kill, and then the double S on the kiss, and they both form completely different meanings. So they both have that same similar sound to start with, and then they jump, but they have total different meanings. So Quentin D. Atkinson said that the smaller a population would have the less phonemes, and the larger population would obviously have more. So, but then he would also say, and his scholars, those who follow him, would say that the further away you got from Africa, that the more phonemes you would have, or sorry, the less. So those in Africa, where the language was actually born, had far less phonemes, and they were able to use this model to figure out that language first started in early humans, 150,000 to 350,000 years ago, and that's also when the first modern man was found or lived. So most scientists agree that Africa is the basic area, and I know Africa is huge, so it's hard to pinpoint exactly where. But most scientists agree, obviously, that Africa is where. How did these languages spark into human minds? Like I said before, I went briefly into it. There's the two theories: the continuity, which is held by Michael Tomasello. He's like one of the main pioneers of the forefront of this. He said that it evolved slowly, and not all scientists that agree with the continuity theory agree that it started with nonverbal. But he said that nonverbal came first, pointing, gesturing, body language, and then it formed into actual verbal language. But like I said, not all scientists agree with that. Some say that the verbal language came first, and then it turned into gesturing, like gesturing that I'm using now when I'm speaking. So the other is the discontinuity theory, and that's just that it suddenly realized we had the gene suddenly, and it's a lesser held theory. But Noam Chomsky, I'm sure we all have heard of him. He's one of the fathers of the forefront of this, and he says that it was a chance mutation in the human brain 100,000 years ago that just suddenly gave us the ability to speak. Like before, our early ancestors couldn't even do it, couldn't even fathom it, let alone use speech. So, and something that backs this up is animals. Now that they've never really advanced, their speech is never really. A cat's not going to wake up in 100,000 years and start barking or something. It's kept their same hiss, purr, meow. So it's never really advanced. So that led some credence to that theory. And to wrap it up, like I said, there's no consensus on how or why, but there is, or how and when, and even where. Like I said, Africa, but it's hard to pinpoint exactly where. But we do know why, and that's to influence social and cultural change on a small and a large scale. Like, now I'm giving you a speech, I'm using language on a small scale. Someone in like Congress might be using language to influence a bill, which is a little bit larger scale than what I'm doing here. So my final thought is, when I was researching, I was shocked at how little that we actually know. Like, I can't believe I picked a topic that we don't. Scientists are so dispute against with each other. So and I just want to learn more because it's an important topic. So thank you.